Have you ever noticed something? When most people multiply two-digit numbers, they try to solve the entire problem all at once. But our brains are much better at working with smaller, simpler pieces than with one big calculation. In this video, I'll show you how to break large multiplication problems into smaller, easier parts so you can solve them much faster. And the best part is, this method doesn't only work for a few special numbers, it works for almost any multiplication problem. Let's solve 23 times 14. First, we break 14 into 10 and 4. Now we split the multiplication into two simpler calculations. 23 times 10 equals 230. 23 times 4 equals 92. Now we simply add the results together. 230 plus 92 equals 322. So, 23 times 14 equals 322. As you can see, we turned one difficult multiplication into two much easier ones. But why does this work? Because in mathematics, this is called the distributive property. Multiplying a number by a sum is the same as multiplying each part separately and then adding the results together. Written as a formula, a times b plus c equals a times b plus a times c. So what we're doing isn't a trick we've memorized. It's actually one of the fundamental rules of mathematics. Now let's try a more interesting example. 48 times 19. At first glance, it looks a little difficult. But what else could we write instead of 19? We can write it as 20 minus 1. Now the calculation becomes much easier. 48 times 20 equals 960. 48 times 1 equals 48. 960 minus 48 equals 912. The answer is exactly the same, but the calculation is much faster. Here's an important point to remember. You can't always split a number any way you want. Instead, you should split it in a way that makes the calculation easier. For example, 19 becomes 20 minus 1. 29 becomes 30 minus 1. 49 becomes 50 minus 1. 99 becomes 100 minus 1. Thinking about numbers this way makes mental math much faster and easier. Now let's use this in a real-life situation. Imagine an item costs $249, and you want to buy 12 of them. We break 12 into 10 plus 2. 249 times 10 equals 2,490. 249 times 2 equals 498. Now we add them together. 2,490 plus 498 equals 2,988. And just like that, we found the answer without using a calculator. There's actually a faster way to calculate 249 times 2 as well. Instead of thinking about 249, think of it as 250. Multiplying 250 by 2 is much quicker. The answer is 500. But remember, we added 1 to round the number up. So we also need to subtract that extra amount. 1 times 2 equals 2. 500 minus 2 equals 498. A small adjustment makes the calculation much easier. Now let's try an even bigger multiplication. What is 198 times 27? We'll break 27 into 20 plus 7. 198 times 20 equals 3,960. 198 times 7 equals 1,386. Now we add them together. 3,960 plus 1,386 equals 5,346. Even calculations that look difficult at first become much more manageable with the right strategy. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is breaking numbers into too many pieces. For example, you could split 27 into 10 plus 10 plus 7. But that's unnecessary. The goal isn't to make the calculation longer. The goal is to make it easier. So always look for the simplest and most practical way to split the numbers. The technique you learned today is actually the foundation of mental multiplication. By breaking numbers into smaller, easier parts, we can solve problems that once seemed complicated. And the best part is, this method isn't limited to a few special numbers. You can use it for almost any multiplication problem. In the next video, we'll take this idea even further with an even more powerful technique. With every lesson, multiplying large numbers in your head will become a little easier. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe for more practical mental math techniques.